Hey Wargamers, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff, and if you didn't see the channel announcement or anything, let me turn the music down here. See the channel announcement, we're doing something a little bit different this week. You see, GW has been hitting us hard and fast with all kinds of releases. We had Flesh Eater Courts and Skaven, we had Gloomspite Gets before that, and then the Slaanesh came out, and then now there was Forbidden Power coming out. Anyway, my point is that with this lore channel, and I try to keep things up to date as much as possible, I have fallen very behind on my personal painting, my personal hobby, to make all those videos happen. And so with this kind of lull, I guess you could say, in content, meaning I finished Slaanesh week and there's this downtime week and then there's Forbidden Power. I'm going to use this week to really crank out my painting because there are things that I want to do besides just those kinds of videos. I want to do narrative battle reports and I want to do painting tutorials and all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm going to use this time to really crank that out. So the rest of this week, basically Monday, Tuesday, I think Wednesday, and Friday, and Thursday. Yeah, I will. So darn near all the whole week, I'm going to be doing painting around this time. Friday, I'll do it in the mid mornings, like 11 for my European viewers. So anyway, feel free to join along with me. I'm going to point the camera down and we'll begin. Now, if someone could just tell me in the chat if I sound okay. I do have a little bit of music playing just to kind of break up the silence. Let me know if it's too loud. Just a few lo-fi beats. And I'll kind of get everyone caught up on what I'm working on. Let's see here. Adrian Ladd, are you starting another army again? Sort of. So I haven't gotten rid of the Skaven by any chance. I'm using them in the next narrative battle report. In addition to that, I wanted a protagonist, and so I got a great deal on some Stormcast models, mostly all from the Sacrosanct Chamber. Maybe I will turn the music up a bit. Let's see here. Tell me if you can hear that now. But it's like a lo-fi beat thing, so it won't be very annoying. And so yeah, if you haven't seen them, sorry, I'll back up. I have them posted all over my social media as well as on the community tab of my page. It's the Celestial Vindicators, and I'll put this light down here so we can see a little better. But yeah, it is the teal and purples and that kind of stuff to really make the army pop. So I have 10, so done so far. It's just off cam here. I have 10 Sequitors, 5 Evocators, 5 Judicators, a Knight Incanter, and the Lord Arcanum. It's pretty much just a big blurry of stuff that came in Soul Wars. Here's 2 Ballistas that we'll be painting today. So I'm going to start off by working on the bases for all the stuff that's painted. I'll get these guys off to the side, just so I can say I have like stuff like done, 110% done. And then, in addition to all of that, we have this guy, the good old Celestin Prime, who, the last owner, and I showed this when I did my hobby haul, he put like, it's a circular disc that is like a tile. So I think it's like a base from a different sized model, but he put it there within the swirl. You can kind of see it. And, you know, it looks fine. You know, it'll take to wash this really easily, that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. But the weight of it, it's definitely like a thick resin thing, and it just makes him so much more stable. I really like it. So, because the only other Celestin Prime I've seen, he was too springy on those things. So, let's see here. Cool, got people telling me I sound good. Audio solid. Thank you so much, Acrylic Chemist. PJ, longtime viewer, first time catching you. Greetings from Ireland. That's awesome. Awesome stuff. Okay, let's we're gonna start by dry brushing some different colors to get these bases looking a little better, make them pop, you know. Now, my favorite thing out, Triple Diamonds over on Twitch. Hello. Oh, and Take Overnight. Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Adrian says, no AOS night this week. I don't know if I'll be able to come. I want to definitely see how much I can get done. For sure. If I get enough done, I will definitely be there. It's just that I don't get a lot of downtime anymore between projects. So this is, what is that stuff called? Sterling Mud is my favorite texture paint ever. It takes really well to stuff. This is pretty much exactly what I did for the Fire Slayers. I just did Devlin Mud, dry brush, Shop Debone, and then threw some plants, fauna, whatever, that kind of stuff on there. Flora, not fauna. But yeah. So it's nice. Oh yeah, use it for your ice bases. That's a cool idea, because it is that same texture as like a shifting just kind of mass, like could also be lava if you did like the molten, like the way lava actually like rolls and forms in on itself, that kind of stuff. Okay, it's coming. Let's see. I almost kind of want to go heavier with it. There we go. So you gotta not dry brush out too much. Want it to still pop. There we go. Okay, let's see here. So at this point, I basically just want to hang out with people and chat a bit. So if you have any questions for me, I will be happy to answer whatever. Michael says, Michael and Kenzie both suggest Astro Granite, which is actually one that I was going to do. Because I haven't decided on a basing scheme for the Skaven yet. The non-pestilence Skaven specifically. And so I had considered Astro Granite and trying out some different washes. Maybe trying a green wash to make it look like, I don't know, warp stone, spoiled earth, and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, there's some cool stuff to do with that. I've never played with that one, but it definitely seems like a cool thing. Let's see. Democles, hey, how you doing? Good to see you over there on Twitch. Question from Kenzie. Is it cool to talk about the upcoming narrative, at least your 2 Stormcast characters? Well, since you asked, yes it is. So, for those of you who don't know, in the chat, Kenzie is helping me come up with, well, I say helping me, she's doing all the work. I'm going to do all the filming, she's going to do all the work. Our new narrative campaign. So if you haven't kept up since I released the Beast of Chaos and Slaves to Darkness one, basically it was a proof of concept video. If you haven't seen it, you should go just type in narrative battle report on my search engine thing and you'll see it. But it was a proof of concept video, not so much a finished product. And people seem to really like it. And so how I want to do my narrative campaigns and battle reports is make them, what's the word? Not vignettes, anthologies, where it's like small, concise stories, limited in scope, that kind of stuff. And so, basically playing, 3 to 4 battles with specific characters and a character arc, telling one story, and then move on to something completely different. So, like, 3 battles might be, these are the diaries of a KO captain as he's sailing across trying to get ether gold and the battles that he fights. And then we'll stop, switch gears, and be like, hey, this is the Celestial Vindicators fighting Skaven, which is actually the first one that's going to be coming up. So that's the idea, is you have a few episodes that are part of a story, or a few chapters within a story, and that makes up a self-contained narrative. So that is my idea. As far as the characters that we have for this, so give me just 1 second. So we have Lord Arcanum, Damien Arcanos. Arcanos is the Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger. which eventually I do want to get the Torlon kit, which has the Lord Arcanum on foot, because I do eventually want to have him like off. I'm going to basically do a bunch of variants of him, so that's kind of cool. And then there is Knight Incantor Gale Windswept, who is not really his right hand man, but there, another person of leadership. And so the basic story we have, so everyone here gets a spoiler alert. The story is the Sacrosanct Chamber. I don't know why words are just escaping me. I just got off work. Sacrosanct Chamber has found a huge hunk of grave sand, like broken off from a piece of the Black Pyramid. And they're trying, again, if you don't know the Sacrosanct Chamber, like their kind of submission is to constantly be looking for ways to have a cure for Stormcast, like souls breaking apart as they reforge. And so the idea is they want to recover this, take it back to Azir for study. So it gives them a pretty good like reason to be at a place. We can use the death mat for that, in Shyish, and the objective marker, the one that's like a black rock that's being chained to the earth, like that'll perfectly serve that narrative very, very well. And the idea is that the Skaven want to steal it, just like they wanted to take a whole bunch of grave sand during the events of malign sorcery when they screwed up the Necroquake and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be Celestial Vindicators versus Clan Pestilence, Skaven specifically. And I'm having the Plague Furnace has been painted by a commissioned painter out of Canada, who's a friend of the show, Sean, and he's an awesome guy. And basically, he wanted to do it for me for free, so I could he wanted to do it to thank me for the channel, rather than PayPal. But also, he has a small paint studio. He just wanted some. He's like, hey, you get this for free, but if you just show off my work and that kind of stuff. So I'll have more details on that when I get the Plague Furnace. Anyway, so it's all kind of coming together. Yeah, so that's kind of the idea right now. And the way it's going to work is we have written the first mission, which is Celestial Vindicator. We open up with the Vindicators having the piece of gravesand, the big hunk of Black Pyramid, and the Skaven trying to take it, and then basically just going to be letting it evolve on its own. So we don't have predetermined. We've thought about the next step, like logically, if the Stormcast win that first battle, which will be more of like a ambush type thing. If the Stormcast win that ambush, what naturally would they do next? And that would be to try to move towards a Realm Gate to get it back to Azir. What would happen if the Skaven win and that kind of stuff? So we've done like a little bit of thought, but for the most part, I want it to be very freeform. I want stories to evolve over time. So yeah. Anyway, so Kenzie, do you have anything else you want me to share about the narrative thing? Let's see here. I'm just gonna scoop back up and talk about stuff. Narrative is definitely the way I want to go with my next gaming group. Yeah, it's a ton of fun. It is a ton of fun. I think narrative missions are the best. They're often asymmetrical. I mean, you and your opponent have different goals, and I just think that is a blast. Let's see. Vallejo basing paste is a cheaper alternative if people want to save money. Dark earth, desert sand, and white pumice are awesome. Okay. Right on. I'll check that out. I like Vallejo products. These, what I really love from Vallejo, my favorite product they make out is the varnishes, the matte and gloss varnishes. Top notch. Let's see. King Bread says, big truth, what I have already learned on the Steam, and Doug should definitely grow an afro. I have an afro. If you want to see something fun, fun in quotes, go check out my Instagram. I do have quite a large afro. And I did take a who wore it better picture between me and Bob Ross. And that base is a little different. That's going to need more work. Okay. And, you know, Bob Ross is great, but mine is also getting pretty fearsome. Let's see. Bob Jones, question. What do you think of the new GW contrast paint? It looks like it would help with painting. What do you think? Well, I have a lot of thoughts on contrast. Because I'm a YouTuber and I have just opinions on everything. So, I'm just gonna straight up say, like, spoiler, I love it. Like, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea not just for getting new hobbyists in, which is a huge deal, but also from the perspective of people who don't play GW games have a good reason to buy their products, and that's fantastic. When I was going over in like the Warhammer Fest review video, I mentioned the fact that, like, you know, if you think about like a War Machine and Hordes player, up until recently, Privateer Press didn't really encourage the hobby very much. At least when I was playing it, I played it for 2 years. I never felt like the company really cared if I painted stuff like from a game level, but to do any of their big events, you had to have a fully painted army. My reason for going on to that rant is that, like, now you've created a situation where people from other games can explore different painting methods and techniques and reap the benefits of GW's hard work. They can stand out even with their competition on that. Beyond that, as far as like the actual look, you know, there's a few videos online of people and pictures of people who've at Warhammer Fest got a trial run. What I will say is it looks just fine. I do think there is a learning curve, much like with the Gloom and Hexwraith Flame paints that came out for Night Haunt. You know, those paints look like you're just supposed to glob it on a primed white model, but actually there's a bit of nuance to making the fade effects and making those paints look really good. And I think the kind of results we saw from Games Workshop painters and the kind of results we saw from people just plopping down and jamming paint all over something, they look very different. The ones where, you know, or someone got comfortable with the contrast paints legitimately look good. They're not going to win Golden Demon, but they look good. They're battle ready, as they say. Whereas the ones where ordinary folks just plop down for the first time, they look rough. You know, the colors are generally right. It's just a matter of getting, like, how much you apply. You know, I think the picture they have of, like, where it's a Space Marine on the handle, and it's like that huge fire hose level of paint gushing at him from the side. The problem is, I think that sets the tone for people like, oh, just apply a whole bunch of it. But I think if you want a best results, it's probably going to be like, not thinned down with water, but I mean, you take it out of the pot, you put it on your palette, and you drag some of it out so you have more control. I think that's going to be fundamental to that. But not everyone's going to know that the first time they crack into it. So, oopa. Anyway, so I think they're good. I think there is going to be a learning curve. But I think, like, I just think about, like, my clan rats. Like, right now I have over 100 models painted for Skaven, and it's soul crushing. That's why I started picking up Stormcast, just to paint for fun. I was just like, I need something else. Like, it's soul crushing to have that many models. So, and I'm a Horde army guy. So I think it'll definitely help with that. Let's see here. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Oh, referring to my Bob Ross picture, my insane hairdo. Yeah, it's pretty great. Phoenix Kelly, hello. And Pop Burnsy says, is it wrong that I'm holding off on getting sequiturs because of contrast paint in those tabards? No, not at all. I mean, I know, like, for example, Jack on Ruling Ones, he wants to use the contrast paints to do his demonettes, and, like, that's, you know, big blocks of 30, that's exactly why they made it. So, no, not at all. Plus, You know what I would say is that that's what you're going to do if you're going to wait for it. Like if it's something that excites you enough to actually like wait for that specific paint line to come out, make sure you pre-order, because I am sure there's going to be a big old blitz of people being like, I want every color. So not literally, but I mean, I think there will be. Here's the thing. It's a lot of product. Like I was actually talking to my local GW store manager about that, where, we're looking at his paint rack, and I was just chatting with him about it. I made, no qualms. I'm very excited for it. And he's like, yeah, it's just logistically, there's just a lot going on right now. So yeah, I don't know. 1 second. I'm gonna work on this guy real quick. It's kind of weird. So I kind of just grabbed random models when I was putting together this little, this is actually 980 points. And I accidentally grabbed a guy with a finished base, came, I can't remember what set it was in, but the Sequitors had these nice bases on them, which is great, but it also makes them a pain because they're not the same as painting everything else. So let me get this guy set up real quick. Digital Keegan says Stormcast today. Yes, it changes weekly, but today it is Stormcast. I'm trying, I know I say this all the time, and every time I'm a liar, but there's just something about this last round of models where I grabbed Skaven, and it just broke me. Like, I just lost all will to paint for really a solid 2-3 weeks. I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm off of that now. I feel much better, but it was just this really hard moment where it's the thing is that when I got the Skaven, right, I was like, I'm gonna do Scryer. So I painted a whole bunch of acolytes. And then I was like, well, why don't I kind of broaden it up and kind of play, at least have the option with clan rats to play anything. So then I painted 40 clan rats. And then I was like, you know what I really like though, from a rules perspective, because the more I played, I was like, I don't really like Scryer stuff that much, is pestilence. And then I painted 60 plague monks. But the problem is that because of the way the battle line works, I now have well over 100 painted models for Skaven, and I don't have a legal 2,000 point list. I would at least need to paint 20 more clan rats to have that. So it's just a ton of work. Don't feel like I have anything to show for it. And it was just kind of soul crushing. And I started painting these guys, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Let's see. Michael Hammond, I have 30 blood letters that are waiting for it to come out. Oh, sweet. Yeah, dude. I got a little bit of brown paint on his robe. That's okay. I can fix that later. Let's see. Bob says you want to scrunch up a kit before you go crazy for Warcry. Oh, yeah. Warcry is exciting. For sure. Kenzie says, question, we understand the broad scopes, but who are the heroes as people? Your interpretation, at least. Broad strokes. I assume you're talking about the narrative battle report. These two heroes right here, the Lord Arcanum and Knight Incantor, as people. So they're Celestial Vindicators. They are hell-bent on fighting chaos. They lose control. Their army kind of falls apart. They are abrasive and want to fight. So Lord Arcanum is just a very incredibly aggressive person, and is sent again to guard and reclaim a hunk of rock, and that does not sit well with him, as you may very well imagine. And so he has trouble with that aspect of stuff. And then I haven't quite dove into what I want the Knight Incantor to be. I want it to be some kind of counter voice of reason. But yeah. Let's see. Zombie Man 1999. I need to learn how to shade properly. I always get what I would call watermarks when it dries the flat surface. Yeah, you just got to for watermarks. Rather than washing just over the entire surface, just kind of aim for cracks and crevices. Yeah. Digital Keegan, holy crap, I just went to your Instagram. You really do have quite an afro. Yeah. Yeah, when I don't have hair gel in it, it gets real wild real quick. Let's see here. We grab... The most important part of any basing project is plants, of course. There we go. That. There we go. Sweet. I'm going to get caught up on questions real quick before I start doing basing stuff, so just hang on there. Let's see. Die Mongar, please, sorry if I butchered that. Do you think you'll end up doing a video on Soul Wars in the vein of your Star Collecting Box reviews? Maybe you do one for each side. Probably. I still need to do Star Collecting Box reviews for the old 2-player starter set. The problem is finding the words to articulate my feelings on the Soul Wars set, because if you're doing Stormcast, it's not amazing. And by that I mean there's 2 units that have weird sizes and that kind of stuff. Like, they don't give you full units. I hate that stuff, to be honest with you. But I'll definitely think about that. Let's see. Digital Keegan, so why are you painting Stormcast? It's for a narrative battle report. And plus I needed a break from Skaven. Let's see here. The Sequitur with the Great Mace is from the Easy Build set. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think there were a few. I don't know. So basically, when I got these guys, it was a block of 40 Sequiturs, and they were all from 20 of them were the actual kit. I think 10 or 15 were the Soul Wars ones, and then there was just a few random of like the quick, easy, you know, snap together ones. So. Yeah, I don't know. The Reptile. Speaking of Skaven, what's the status of the Thankful video? Haven't even started it. It's a lot of work whenever I go back into the vaults of the old world lore. So at some point I will. I do keep an online list of all the videos I need to do. Let's see. Adrian, I'm not certain what I would use a contrast paint on. Anything. They have so many different colors. You can paint this, what I've got going on here, the teal, white, I don't know, all of it. So use on whatever you like. I feel you on the soul-crushing aspect of trying to paint Skaven as an army. I currently need at least 80 more clan rats on top of 3 storm beans. Yep. Okay. So, man, I want to make a full Griffhound army. Oh my god, that'd be so funny. Digital Keegan from the Realm of Metal. It's actually going to be... The story's going to be set in Shyish. But as far as these guys' origin... I don't know. I guess Stormcast origin is kind of secondary because they get pulled from everywhere. Let's see. Reptile says, I collect Skaven and Seraphon. So many clan rats, so many skinks. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Here we go. And we gotta grab some gray. You know, 1 second. There's some stone on here I gotta paint real quick. go. Let's see. Digging the tunes. Thank you. I'm glad you can hear them. Yeah, it's just a little bit of something chill. Go off in the background. Kind of breaks up the monotony of just me. I actually got it because there's a Twitch painter that I really, really like. Her name's Emma. She used to paint for GW. She actually did the Fire Slayers tutorial, at least the first one. I believe it's Electric Eve is her handle on Twitch. Fantastic painter. And she always has some cool beats going on in the background. I was like, I want to do that too. Let's see here. Oh, wait. I fell behind a little bit. Just painting up. It occurred to me that I am totally out of Mechanicus Standard Gray, which is a nice gray to base things with. So I gotta make do. This is just Dawnstone, which is, it's nice, but it's pretty transparent. Let's see. What color blue is that? Looks great as a theme. Yeah, so this is, it's actually from Army Painter, but the GW equivalent is Sotek Blue, which is kind of like a teal, turquoise type thing. But yeah. I like it. You know, the real thing is that like the Skaven I have are so like drab color-wise. I just wanted something colorful, you know. And actually, one of the reasons I've considered in the past starting Seraphon as an army is because they allow you to paint with such vibrant colors. I just always loved it. Always think that colors are good. I'm just going to go back now and touch up all the stonework on everyone's base because, annoyingly, some people stand on rocks, but not everybody. Winners stand on rocks. Let's see, her. She's got a rock. Let's see. Oh, you guys are chatting fast. Okay, yeah, give me 1 second to pop up. Let's see. Clan rats better with spears or hand weapons? Spears. Better with spears because they can all reach over each other and stab the enemy. Which is all they're gonna do. However, I will say, don't expect them to kill much. They're not there to kill much. They're there to just be in the way, take objectives, and die. If you ever find yourself in a position where it's like, I just need my clan rats to kill, it doesn't matter what you need them to kill. Something has gone terribly wrong. Let's see. Kenzie, general question. Guy tips on theming Sylvaneth to Azir. Ooh. That's a tough one. Because from being the origin from their poster boy children, we know shockingly little about Azir. Someone just suggested Cherry Blossom. But yeah, I think definitely that light tone would be cool. Maybe like split and splintered tree branches, like as if they've been struck by lightning. If you've ever seen a tree that got struck by lightning. That's most of what I got. You know, they just, for as much as people are like, we need to see Hish and Olgu, which we do. You know, we definitely need lore from those places. At the same time, it's like, we still don't know what home looks like. You know? I don't know. I wish they had at least given us more pictures of Azir for that reason. Kind of just as a way of like, you know, show us this great society that you want to spread everywhere. Okay. Let's see. Plan on doing birchwood, either yellow, green, or blue spirit parts. Yeah, this will all be working really good. Let's see. I got a whole bunch of stuff. To Azir, light leaking out of the inside, or a light bark, cherry blossoms, or go for a bright oranges. Yeah. Yeah, you got a whole ton of ideas there, Kenzie. Sweet. Let's see. Take a sip real quick. Anonymous plays live. Howdy, howdy. Just hanging out and doing some hobby. Let's see. I'm waiting for all of the gray to dry on the people who have rocks on their bases. So I'm going to go through and throw some plants. What I will say is, I'll be super honest, basing is probably one of my least favorite things about this entire hobby. That's why I make it simple. Texture paint, dry brush, glue a plant to it. Actually, when I go to Nova, one of the things that I'm treating myself to is, one of the seminars I'm going to is basing tutorials with Duncan Rhodes from G-Dubs. So, I'm kind of excited about that. I don't like it, but I hope that Duncan can make me like it, you know? Maybe if I just feel more capable. But for right now, this is exactly what I did with the Fire Slayers, which is just do all that basic little stuff and then go back and tack on plants underneath them. Because it is good enough. Okay. Use stickers for my plants or sculpted bases. Yeah. I'm definitely not opposed to doing this stuff. You know, like, I have before, with the Slaves to Darkness, at one point I actually had all of the bases were the Shattered Dominion. But I actually found those to be a pain to work with. Because I primed them beforehand, and then I used plastic glue generally, and so they just like kept snapping off because the paint would deteriorate. It was just a real bummer. So I probably won't do those ever again, but I'm not opposed to doing like special bases. Like for the hero, I like the hero kit of the Shattered Dominions for sure. Yeah. Hammers of Sigmar are just inverse Ultramarines. Let's see. Big guy here. So also with the Soul Wars kit, they give you these bases that have like the peg holes, and so it's nice to have these big fat plants to just cover that up. When's Nova again? It is end of August into the first week of September, like that weekend between the 2 months. And I could not be more excited. I found out that inadvertently I somehow ended up as one of the first like 400 people to sign up, and I'm getting like a free like goodie bag or something for it. I was like, ooh, that's cool. But yeah, no, I'm just excited to go. And I can't express how excited I am to meet people in person. Let's see. Kenzie's, I'm sorry, going back up a little bit. Hope to get the Shadespire Warband primed so I can start playing with those. Soul Wars described silver trees in Azir. Interesting. I don't know if I saw that. That's cool. Had pretty okay results with Shattered Minion bases on my Corn Dudes. They just require some puzzling out with the placement. Yeah, so if you don't know, like the Shattered Minion bases, sometimes they're like unlevel. Like it's like literally shattered tile that they're trying to walk over, which is really, really cool. It just is also sometimes, as a side note, a royal pain in the butt. The biggest problem I had with them was with cavalry. Like I tried putting Marauder Horsemen on them, and the multiple points of levelness that you need for the 3 legs of the horse, that was an issue. And that was really the biggest one. So yeah. Have these guys fighting in what I'm going to say is a dusty field. That's what we're going to call this basing technique. Dusty field. With the Fire Slayers, I said I did this exact same scheme. I pretty much did. I wanted to make them from Guran, so I wanted to make the ground look a little more lively, and so I actually took gloss varnish and made little streams of water on the bases. And the problem is they're so darn small, you honestly can't really tell. That's kind of a bummer. Because they look great. Blazeby Matt says, what up? Well, up to you, my friend. We're just doing some hobby. Let's see. Okay. Doing pretty well here so far. Man, you guys are looking good. The only thing I have to do after this is get some black paint out and go along the lip just to make it that extra mile. But I don't know, man. This army is looking dope. One thing I realized when I was talking to Jack over Early Ones is that like the Bone Splitters, I think, were the last time I had an army that was fully painted and based. Because I didn't get around to fully basing the Beast of Chaos. I was like, you know what, like, this is dumb. I need to have a solid, good-looking army. There's no reason I don't with how much I paint, so that is what is going down right now. Jack, hey, that's me. Let's see. Voskri, what do you think of contrast paint? I touched on that earlier. I think I have nothing but good things to say about it. I think there's going to be a learning curve. Ooh, almost like a hair from a bristle. Nothing but excited for it, to be honest. Let's see. Okay. We are banging on all cylinders here. These guys are going to be done in no time. Let's see. Stormcast are more Primera size. Yeah, I think so. I think they're on the same size base, actually. If I'm not mistaken. Someone correct me if... I mean, I know that there's different sizes for all the different units, but I believe they're pretty much on par. Okay. Let's see. Primaris are on 32 mils except for characters. Okay, so these guys are what, in 40s? Maybe the base is a bit bigger. I feel like the actual model itself is not significantly bigger. Yeah. Oh, you just answered my question about the base size. Yes, yeah. Okay, so I'm getting all the guys who don't have bricks and crap that they're standing on done first. Let's get these guys out of the way. Just hammer through here. Let's see. Excellent. Put my finger right in where that glue went. Okay. It's all right. I did not need that skin anyway. Oh, we got a paint spill. That's the saddest. One of my favorite hobby purchases I made was this mat that you see me doing everything on, and it was like $7 at Hobby Lobby. I was like, yes. Liberators can fit comfortably on 32, so that's cool. Yeah, I built some Primaris. Because at one point at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm going to do Space Wolves as my best painted army type thing as a painting project. And I just, frankly, I started painting Carriage and Overlords, and I had way more fun with them, so I was like, skip that. But, yeah, I do know they're pretty comparable in size. Speaking of which, I am waiting with bated breath for the day where we get a new Carriage and Overlords book. I don't know. They were an interesting one. Like, them and these Stormcast, like this, because I owned Stormcast before, but this specific paint scheme, I have had just nothing but fun painting it. It's actually been the most fun I've had painting in a long time. Because, like, the Beast of Chaos, I enjoyed using Chaos Spawn, but I didn't enjoy the models. They're fairly old. Some of them are awesome, but I like the Gores. I had a whole bunch of them, and the models just didn't grip me as much as the lore did. And, you know, they play with speed, which is kind of my favorite way to play, just being fast and aggressive. And yeah, but it's nice to have an army that I just like fall in love with painting. Even the Skaven, like I enjoyed the Skaven. I enjoyed playing them when I went to the Bellingham Battle of the Tower. I did my big video on with Jack. But even then, like they're not a model that like I enjoyed painting this. You know, they're like, and I need to paint 80 more. The good news is though, is that for my efforts, in all likelihood, whenever I'm done with the Skaven, they will go to Shu on rerolling ones, so they will be on battle reports. So that's kind of a cool thing. I like that. Here's the thing. get you some friends who enable your bad habits. That's what I chose to do. My bad habit being that I paint too many armies and then trade them off or sell them. And as of right now, Jack has Fire Slayers, Iron Jaws that are both from me. I feel like I've done more for my friends. And then Shu wants my Clan Pestilence. It's just all over the place. So let me see here. Is this paint still thin? Yeah, it is. Reptile says I'm going to go full Stormcast Marines, I think. Some combo Stormcast Gold with Ultramarine aspects. That'd be cool. Let's see. Yeah, it's crazy how you can just kind of fall in love with certain schemes and stuff like that. It's a great time. And I did fall in love with the KO, but I tried playing with them, I think 3 times now total. And I just decided, you know what? These make fantastic wall decorations, and I'm not going to take that from them. And if you are a KO player, keep playing them, because it's not meant to deter you at all. Just, you know, it's just with the local groups that I have, I felt like I just wasn't playing the game, right? I would come up, I get stomped super fast, and yeah. Andrew, are you keeping the Scryer models? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. You know, I'll be honest, like, I don't, when I look at the Skaven, the Scryer stuff, I got the Scryer because they're elite, right? You're kind of a low model count. It's like, oh, I'm going to Nova, I want to play elite army. And then I got this case that holds way more than I thought it could. So the elite thing is not as big an issue. And to be honest with you, I don't enjoy the Warp Spark token mechanic. It just seems like one other thing to remember, and it kind of gets in the way as much as it helps. I did play with Clan Rats a whole bunch at an event, and I had an absolute blast with them. I don't know. I mean, my point being, I'm not like super duper emotionally attached to the Scryer stuff, so it probably eventually one day will leave me for the grace and care of a new owner. Speaking of which, what I've decided to start doing, if anyone is interested, is a bit of fun painting projects. So when I sold a whole bunch of models that were painted by me to raise funds for Nova, it wound up being very successful. People were very generous, and I absolutely appreciate it. And so what I've basically been looking to do is, like, whenever I see a really, really stellar deal online for models, is just grabbing them up, painting them, and being like, hey, if anyone plays this army, I painted some stuff for it. You know, if you want to support the channel and get yourself a cool faction, go for it. And so my first project, for the sheer sake of, you know, painting it for somebody else and then selling it off, not quite commission painting, because I'm just choosing whatever I want to work on and then selling it, is coming this week with Idnith Deepkin. So I'm going to be painting an Eidolon of Mithlan and a whole bunch of Deepkin dudes. So that should be kind of fun, because they do have stellar models. But yeah, I had the incredible gentleman who bought the Slaves to Darkness off of me was like, hey, you know, I put up good coin because, frankly, I don't like Patreon, so this is a way that I can support you. And I was just so grateful for that. And then he told me that. So I was like, yeah, you know, I can certainly paint models and have fun like that and then just put it right back up online. That'd be cool. Plus, maybe painting stuff, you know, a model here and a model there from a faction would kind of curb some of my hobby ADD stuff. But before I start painting any of that, I have to actually like get a playable army, so that's on sort of hold for right now. I've been commissioned to paint some guy's Lord of the Rings collection. Dude has over 200 Moria goblins. That sounds miserable. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is why I don't do commission painting. I've done it a few times in my life. Like when I actually first started the hobby, back when I was playing War Machine Hordes, the way that, because I was in college, I was super, super broke. What I basically do is I painted my army for War Machine, and I show up on game night, and people are like, "Whoa, that looks really great!" And it was not great. Like I have grown as a painter so much since then. But they're like, "Well, would you be willing to paint mine? And if so, what would you want for it?" And I would just point at the shelf and be like, "You buy me that, you know, whatever model that I wanted to own for my army, and I will paint yours." You know what I mean? And so I just kind of built up my personal army, which was Sigmar for War Machine and Hordes, and then did that by painting other people's stuff. And so all I'm doing right now is just going right back around. I kind of got the edges a bit messy with all the basing stuff, but I'm just tidying everything up so the edges have a nice pop to them. I'm just throwing them on my little shelf here, which has a nice rack on it that can not be damaged by wet paint. And this weekend I'll be throwing all these models up on my Instagram. I'll bust out I have this like really nice photo box, so I'll take good looking pictures of them and put them up online to show off. But yeah. Oopa. That was almost bad. Imagine if she fell straight into that black paint. I need to work on that because I got some dirt color on the white. Let's see. What is he painting anyway? I'm painting a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, I was just finishing up about 1,000 points of Stormcast Eternals. So what I've been doing this stream is the basing for them. And yeah, let's see. Mogwai Man, what'd you say? Give me 1 second. So, Mogwai Man, I see that you left a comment, but if I am... Oh, you gave me $2. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. For whatever reason, the chat monitor thing that pulls chat from both Twitch and YouTube, it doesn't know how to read when someone makes a donation, so that's very kind of you. Thank you so much. I want to make sure that there's one time where I missed somebody and I was like, I felt terrible. I was like, oh, I didn't even acknowledge that. Let's see. Ken says I finished Nighthawk for my friend. Time to do my first Chaos Marine. Thinking maybe starting a blog featuring 40k narrative. You should. There's not enough 40k narrative stuff. I see so many people talking competitive for 40k. I don't see enough storytelling, to be honest with you. And it might just be because like I'm not as interested in 40k, so I'm not actively looking as much. But I just get the sense that fewer people are invested in the story arc, which is a shame because 40k is an incredible setting. Let's see. Why super glue over PVA for the tufts? I'm always scared super glue might make the surrounding area kind of cloudy white. It never has for me. It is possible, I assume. For me, it's just a matter of, frankly, I have it, and it secures them pretty darn well. What's cool about if you buy these little, some of the brands of tufts have this and some don't. So here's two examples. The green one is just literally shreds of green grass. However, these ones here, the little like more organized tufts, they actually have this thin layer of plastic that holds all the little branches together. And so I have found if you put a little drop of paint and you put that plastic layer on there, the plastic is big enough to like cover up any of the spots that super glue might make. And so it's just, I've never had a problem with it. I'm sure a better painter and artist would probably use PVA. Let's see. There's definitely less narrative in 40K. Yeah. Oh, I missed somebody here. Let's see. Primate says, Doug, sell lots of armies and come to CanCon. Well, that's exactly why I want to do it. I want to get into, I guess, probably the easiest way to explain is flipping armies, right? Buying it disassembled or unpainted or that kind of stuff, and then painting it and selling it for more. Specifically to fund travel. Like that is the express purpose of doing that. Just, like I don't make a ton of money at my day job, and surprise, surprise, YouTube doesn't actually make a ton of money by being a YouTuber, so all of that stuff would go towards travel expenses, and my wife said she'll go anywhere with me as long as she comes too, meaning like I can go to any convention I want, but she's always invited, absolutely. Let's see. Any tip for painting brass for the Caradron? I kind of went with more of a gold. I don't know if I've ever truly tried painting brass. I'll be honest with you. I would... Honestly, for me, I would just look at the GW or Citadel painting app. Not as a cop-out, because I honestly don't know. Let's see. Rob says, Doug, it's been a long time since I have posted on any of your content, but you and Tabletop Minions are the best content for this type of gaming. Oh, thank you so much. That is high praise to be mentioned in the same breath as Uncle Adam from Tabletop Minions, because that guy is awesome. Let's see. Let's see. Kenzie says I got some bits of narrative stuff I've written up. I'd put it on the blog, check out hobby progress. Yeah, that'd be cool. Personal hobby blogs are legit. Because, what I would suggest to you, Kenzie, if you do that, that's an awesome idea. Make sure you can, whenever you make a blog post, you can go in like the metadata. And so make it easier for people to find stuff. And just really dive into search terms as far as like 40K narrative stuff and that kind of thing, because you can do easy searches like that on Google. You'll get like almost no results. So I guess my point, what I'm saying is make sure your content is findable, because that would be awesome. Because here's the thing, is like someone's gonna find it and be like, this is exactly what I was looking for. Let's see. more black on here. Okay. Let's see. Librarian of Hope. I'm a writer. I made some lore for my AdMech guys. That's cool. How to say 19. I'm actively killing my baby siblings' aspirations to be a YouTuber. It's tough. We live in an influencer-driven world right now. 100%. Alright, so I get all the kids' appeal to it, you know? Let's see. Love your lore videos, by the way. Thank you so much. Yeah, I have fun making them. I will say, I am kind of looking forward to this whole week. We're doing painting and hobby stuff because it's kind of a down week. There's no books coming out. We haven't had a good down week in a while. And so, kind of looking forward to the break, to be honest with you. As much as I love doing lore videos and that kind of stuff, it just, after a while, it just seems like homework. It's like, nah, I need just a break to get stuff painted and play some games. And it's one of those things, like, for the creative process to work as far as, like, being interested and stuff like that with the lore, you got to keep reminding yourself, like, this is why I love this. Let's see. Primate says, you know, AOS is bopping when you're excited for a week of no releases. Absolutely, yeah. When the first article for Forbidden Power, I think yesterday, the day before, came out, my first thought was like, oh man, wish they could have focused a little bit on like 40k for a bit. What do they have? Apocalypse? Oh, let's go talk about Apocalypse, you know, that kind of stuff. But I'm getting more excited for Forbidden Power for sure. And the only reason, like I mentioned it before, like it's not that I'm not excited about it. It's just there wasn't a lot of build up to it. Like they had some art, but not in the same way as like Malign Sorcery and second edition and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what the next chapter holds. But the actual Forbidden Power set looks like it's a campaign system and a narrative battle all in one. So I'm excited. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. Let's see. Atomic Topher, just waiting for when/if Warcry squads can be used in AOS. Well, that'd be cool. Let's see. Connor Fitzgerald, glad I found your channel. I just got into mini wargaming and your start leading videos helped me pick an AOS faction. Oh, thank you so much. That is high praise. I'm glad I could help. Eventually I want to do a video about like beyond the battle box type thing. Like, hey, here's how you can expand each one of these factions, that kind of stuff. But the thing is, I obviously don't play every single army, so I would need a chance to get like, you know, a quote-unquote expert from each one of those factions. And then some are just hard, you know. The Stormcast starter set halves have always had incomplete units. Like that's a tough one to be like, this is what you should do next. So yeah, let's see. Any thoughts to the Ever Chosen contest? I didn't look at it too much. That's the painting thing, right? I mean, I think that's awesome. It's certainly not something I would ever compete in. Like, I just, that's not the level of painting that I enjoy. But if someone else does, I want them to have it. Let's see. Let's see. Give me just a moment, looking for a paint. Okay, some Nuln Oil. All there is for this guy left is just to fix the white and paint in some of the cracks and crevices on the stonework. Let's see. You could probably pull from your fans for said experts. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure I could ask people what their opinions are. Sure, there are a lot of people who are more helpful than others. I'm just going to throw that out there. And so finding the right people who are also willing to do stuff like, you know, be family friendly and not cuss on the channel, because that's an important thing for me. Pool is smaller than you might think. Let's see. Let's see. Malign Portents had too much buildup, says Jack. I would say Malign Portents, yes, you're right. It did have a whole lot of buildup, because that was the one with the countdown that led to nothing. And that was a bit of a bummer. Let's see. Let's see here. That is looking just fine. Okay. So that means in this one stream we have based and completed 980 points of Stormcast. So that is super exciting. Thank you all for joining me on that one. Let me put my assorted tufts away. Let's see here. So that's exciting, having stuff like done, not just what Jack would call done, which is painted but not based because I hate basing, but actually done. And now we're going to move into the bullcrap with ballistas. Let's see. Here's our crew. Let's see. Get caught up here. I think I missed some messages here. Zombie Man. I think I've only played against one endless spell before. Okay. Yeah, endless spells can be great, or they can do absolutely nothing, and there's not a whole lot of in between, I find. Yeah, interesting. Let's see. Where was I? You always got to pick up where you left off with when you're painting. I need gold. Here we go. Are the artificer brushes good? I like the one I got, but I don't know much, honestly. I have never used an artificer brush. If you haven't noticed, I am a terrible artist, and I'm really hard on my brushes, so I tend to burn through them at an incredibly quick rate. So I'm leery of investing in a really, really nice brush. I'm always just worried that I'm just going to rue it in 2 weeks and then regret that purchase. Let me move my light a little bit, make it a little brighter here for me. Adjust the microphone. Let's see. Connor, what are your thoughts on Looncurse? I picked up as a Gloomspite Gits, doesn't have a star collecting box. And my Seraphon as complete as I like it. So, what are my thoughts on Looncurse? I don't like how few of them they made, I'll be honest. You know, I don't like when there's a gold rush for a box set. I didn't like it for Carrion Empire. I didn't like it for Loon Rush. We're just like, stores just really honestly can't get product that people are excited about. That's bad for business. But as far as the product itself, like the reason all that problem exists is because it's a fantastic product. And therein lies the kind of the double-edged sword, right? So many people wanted this great thing. There was never a good onboarding point for squigs. And that one's a fantastic one. So it's just kind of a, it's equally exciting and also a bummer. I have heard, but haven't read it myself, that the narrative within it is pretty fun. And that's the only details I've been given, is that it's pretty fun. Which is good, because quite frankly the Carrion Empire story really didn't grip me. It was just like, and here's some Skaven that are fighting some Crypt Horrors, and that was basically it. Where they could have done some cool stuff. They could have built it up a bit more. But yeah. Okay. Looking good, looking good. Make sure I got all the legs done. So the Ballistas, I'm not doing anything too crazy or fancy with them. Just kind of want to get them done. Honestly, they're not my favorite model. Like, I'm just not a big huge fan of artillery. I'd rather have sequitors or, you know, some kind of infantry march in the field, if I'm honest. Shooting is Jack's thing. He can have that. Although I think Jack from Really Ones is retiring the mantle of Shootcast, so I might pick that mantle up. I don't know, we'll find out. He's putting that hat down and taking up the Pleasure Lord hat of Slaanesh. And that's exciting. Let's see. Oh, you guys have been chatting. If I missed questions and you want me to answer, ask it again, because you guys are chatting away, and that's awesome. Let's see. I want Golden Throne Emperor scenery. That'd be kind of cool. Something like that could definitely exist. They're doing Siege of Terra. Although I guess the Emperor did teleport to Horus's ship to fight in the Siege of Terra. See, I know 40k stuff. Didn't have much trouble getting Looncurse in the UK. Oh, that's awesome. Let's see. Painting the Emperor would be awesome. I like it. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if they're going to come out with a Sigmar model. Like, I know there's Emperor of Mankind. I don't know, how do you capture that in a model? You know what I mean? Same thing with Sigmar. Like these characters that are just so larger than life. Let's see. Anyone else excited for Tomb King's Chamber to open? Oh my gosh. I'll be honest, and I've said this before, so like, I missed the boat on being excited for Tomb Kings. By that I mean, I didn't play in the old world, and people are like, oh my god, etc., etc. I'm like, what's so cool about him? And I mean, I've gone back and read some stuff to try and understand why people are excited, you know, because it's important. Why people are excited is just as important that they're excited. And he's a cool character. I don't have that nostalgia factor of like, oh, this is the jam. Let's see. Tap says, hey Doug, love your videos. Want your opinion on some Skaven units. 40 Storm Vermin versus 80 Clan Rats plus a War Claw. Both groups are 500 points. What's a War Claw? You mean a Claw? Oh, Claw Lord? I'm gonna level with you. I'm not the best when it comes to list building. I know more bodies is great. That's just the Skaven way. Someone who's good at the game will probably tell you that Storm Vermin are not the best place right now. But I happen to like them, but not for a competitive reason. I don't know. If you want to have an effective list, my first suggestion is that you ask somebody who knows this game better than I do. But second would be probably the Clan Rats and the Claw Lord would probably be a stronger choice competitively. Because not only do you work towards your battle line requirements, which you're going to have to do eventually anyway, but that many Clan Rats, that's just hard to dislodge, to be honest. And that's their strength, right? They're just, it requires more work to remove them than they are themselves worth. And that's the kind of economy that makes Skaven winners. Let's see. I didn't realize how much trim was on these things. I never actually like looked really intently at a Ballista until I got these. I think I see people with them, but like I said, artillery is just not my favorite thing, so it's never been a model where I'm like, whoa, let me see that. Let's see. Question, Tomb Kings are back. No. No, people are just really want them to be. There was reference, it was like a throwaway line in a book, to a Stormcast named Cetrus. So that has people on the lookout for Cetra returning in some capacity, possibly as a Stormcast. But no, Tomb Kings are not back. I'd like it if they were. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, I'm going to retract that statement. I like it if another Death Army that maybe wasn't loyal to Nagash was reimagined in the realms. I'll say that. I will definitely be behind that. I think that would be legit if some events of Soul Wars and or Forbidden Power was like, and here's a faction that's broken free from him. But Nothing conclusive about that yet. Let's see. That's actually one of my favorite things about Flesh Eater courts, is that they can be loyal or disloyal depending on whatever you want to do to Nagash, whereas everything else just really seems, you know, like not all Nighthaunt armies move under his direct orders, but if he reaches out to them, they respond. Let's see. Reptile, so many projects partly done. Is anyone else with this issue? Yep, that's exactly what I'm conquering right now. I have my Skaven half-done project and my Stormcast half-done stuff, so we're picking the Stormcast and we're cranking those out. Ignatius on Fire. Doug, do you play any video games? I mostly play RPGs. Like, honestly, the two games that I play, and I've played them for years, is the Fallout series and Skyrim. And I'm back into Skyrim after a little while of hiatus. Let's see. So that's pretty much it. I'm not a competitive game person by any chance, by any stretch. I did play Red Dead Redemption 2 because I really, really enjoyed the first one. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see. Yeah, so someone brought up that they did announce that there's going to be another battle tome for each of the Grand Alliances, which means death. So there will be something new for death, which I'm hoping is either Soulblight or some, you know, just non-Nagash focused army, I think would be good. Let's see. Jay, hey Doug, how do you keep your painting so neat while being so quick? It's just muscle memory. I didn't think I was particularly quick until Jack told me I was. Like, I knew I finished projects quickly, but I didn't think I was had a particularly steady hand. Also, I just, when I make a mistake, I don't stop everything and go correct it. I just keep going, and then for every model that I paint or batch of models, I always have like a, I just call it the cleanup phase, right? You just go back and fix little mistakes here and there. Like, I just got a little bit of Celester Gray on the blue that shouldn't be there. I'm just going to go back later and I fix up the blue trim. And for right now, it is fine. Let's see. Let's see, another Nighthaunt book. I don't know. I'm not certain what the next death would be like. I think Soulblight would be a good contender. And just a good choice. Or if they went something super awesome like, what are they, Death Mages? The Make the Necromancer that whole subsection with the Mortis engine. That would be cool. Let's see. Death Battle Tom Frankenstein's. I like it. Okay, these things are turning out. There's actually not a lot more I want to do to them. I want to do a wash on the gold for the ballistas, and then do a fine highlight on the blue. And then I always do like a dry brush of Stormhost Silver over my gold just to give that nice little edge sheen. I guess I have to build up the white just a tidbit more when the Celestia Gray dries, but yeah, they're pretty simple. I'm actually probably going to spend more time on the crew here because I'm painting them up. Basically, for these dudes, I'm going to do like the basic scheme that I have for everyone else, but white cloaks, and like they have kind of this weird textured pattern in their robes. So I'm thinking of doing a red for that, just to make it pop, make them a little different, because they are different. I mean, they would be on a crew rather than the standard outfit of the battle line guy. So making them a little bit different just to do that. What I'm going to do is throw some water in here and keep this nice and wet, so when this first layer dries, I have Celestia Gray ready to go for a second coat. Let's see. Ignatius Fire. Doug, will you be getting the Looncurse box? I will not. Nothing in there really speaks to me. You know, the Gloomspite kits are cool as a faction, but they're just one of those things that like I like a lot of the models, but then I look at the rules when I think about constructing an army for them, and just nothing grips me. You know what I mean? So yeah. Let's see here. So yeah, I will. And then as far as the Sylvaneth goes, they're an army that I've always thought looks great, and it's just never appealed to me for owning them. I like the teleport thing. Like that's actually the inverse, where like I love the rules, but none of the models really are like, oh my god. I mean, maybe Alariel one day, you know, if I'm doing my thing where I buy models, paint them, and then sell them online. But that's honestly just pretty much it. So, Librarian of Hope. Does anyone understand the contrast paints at this point? Yes, it is a paint that is designed to be applied in one coat, and with that one coat you will get your base layer as well as your shade, and you can paint over that with more stuff, like if you wanted to do highlights and that kind of thing. But what it does is it gets your models looking battle ready, which is the GW way of saying good enough. So my assumption is if you did that system and bought 3 pots of contrast paint, you prime your model white or bone color, and then you have everything you need to meet the 3 color minimum of most events. Let's see. Kandakar Hassan, I believe I butchered that. I'm so sorry. Wish I knew how to paint. It just takes practice. I so wish I had kept my first models. They were damaged when in a move back in Iowa, and they looked rough. But you just gotta practice. And even then, I'm never gonna win an award for my painting. Oh, maybe like a local best painted, but I mean like an event award or something like that. So yeah. Let's see. just a moment here. Just kind of waiting for the cells to to dry. Oh, Alexandre, thank you so much. Got a $10 donation. Thank you. That's so kind of you. Oh, Alexandre, thank you so much. Yeah, no, it's been a blast. I'm going to be doing this most of this, most of the week. So, listen to your videos every morning, man. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. That is incredibly kind of you. Yeah, no, it's been a blast. I'm going to be doing this most of the week. So, listen to your videos every morning, man. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. That is incredibly kind of you. Let's see. Indikar Hassan, you actually didn't. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, you're getting an echo? Sorry. There we go. How's that? Sorry. Basically, so what happened was I can't see if people give me a tip, basically. And so I pulled up the like the video that you're seeing on my end, and so I could see if somebody did. So anyway, sorry about that. We're back on board. But yes, there was definitely a glitch in the matrix. Let me adjust the volume thing so the desktop audio never goes through. Okay. That was a much simpler fix than all those times when I first started using this new system, and the audio or the video feed would just cut out for no reason. Just cause. Let's see here. Let's see. Librarian of Hope says, I'm honestly thinking about making a Mickey Mouse Skaven because of the idea is so dumb. I love it. Hey man, that's what appeals to you. You do you. And you enjoy it. Let me see. With all of the Stormcast stuff, I've been doing a highlight layer with Temple Guard Blue. Successful Geek would love to see how your streaming setup is. You inspired me to set up my workspace for stream, not to go pro, just to use it as a hangout to motivate myself to paint more. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, basically it's not very complicated. I use Streamlabs OBS with 2 webcams, one facing down and then one that is facing me. And that's basically all it is. Is that when someone donates and Doug is temporarily Infinidug? Yes. Is exactly what happens. Instead of just screaming for 30 minutes when I go Super Saiyan like they do in DBZ, I just go into like the multiverse of gratitude. Doing some fine edge highlighting here. Okay. Let's see. Doug becomes confused with Aragold. I love it. Speed painting a Realm of Shadow Sylvaneth army right now. I have managed to finish the whole project in 5 days with an airbrush. Nice. That is incredible. I have resigned to the fact that at some point I do need to get an airbrush. But here's the concern I have, right? I already go through armies at an incredible rate. Would getting an airbrush just enable me in a bad way? Even more so than my good friends over at Reeling Ones who just keep taking my painted models? Difficult to say. Let's see. Doug has a time stone. Says, well, geek, cool. I only have the one webcam. We'll probably just use it till I do a certain number of hours, then buy a second face cam. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It, I mean, for the longest time, if you have been a viewer for a long time, first of all, thank you. Your patience knows no bounds. But basically, what I used to do was I had one camera and it faced me, and then I would literally like grab it and be like, okay, we're gonna go down to the paint table and flip it, and basically I have those the gorilla tripod that can bend it to where it's now facing down. But there was always this moment where people would joke about being seasick, and it was just all kinds of fun. What I lost in character, I made up for in professionalism, for sure. Let's see. Hope you have a great evening, Doug. Have fun painting. See y'all. Yeah, good. Have a nice day, Connor. So, yeah, just, what I got? Just about an hour left before I have to hop off for the night, but we're making good progress. We got a whole bunch of stuff done, and, should certainly have the ballistas done for sure. Not the crew. The crew will take a little bit longer, but yeah, I'm at a dash because there's a couple of events coming up locally that I want to go to, and I'm very excited about. But you know, I had a great time at the Battle for the Tower that I went to. The last event that I went to, I had a wonderful time. The only singular negative thing that I had, like the thing that was a downer, was the fact that I didn't have a fully painted army. Because honestly, more than anything else, I was just frustrated with myself that I get myself into these positions where I don't have a fully painted army. It's like I paint way too much. We counted up, and I painted just shy of 700 models last year, and I don't have a fully painted army. I'm like, this is a joke. This let's see. I need the slightest dot. Okay, there we go. Hello, I've been trying to get back into Age of Sigmar with an army, and I've always been into tabletop armies who have a crap load of utility. Any thoughts on an AS army like that? So when you say utility, frickin' the chicken, you mean like being able to do just about anything? Because if that's the case, Stormcast is the way to go. They have units who can do anything. They're kind of like the jack of all trades, masters of none type thing. So if that's what you mean by utility, there's no one better. Let's see. Ignatius on fire. Doug, do you have trouble choosing what kind of basing to go with your minis? Yes, but that's more because I hate basing. As I mentioned before, I dislike it. And so the thing that I just did for this army was one that I did for my Fire Slayers back in the day, when I had those before. They were actually on rerolling ones this last week, so if you want to go see what they look like, you can. And it worked so simple and so well. I was like, I'm just going to do that again. And always for the Ulthuan Grey, it takes 2 coats because it is incredibly translucent. Little Geek, gotta head to bed. Awesome seeing you stream. Have a great evening. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. The Stormcast Rhino is here working on my Thirster. Right on. Let's see. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I missed a question. Lehman Russ, what happened to the Skaven when you start Stormcast? I still have the Skaven. It just became soul-crushing to paint that many models. And my Skaven are, the color scheme is kind of drab, like dark colors. Can do a lot of pestilence stuff. And so I picked Celestial Vindicators with a lot of purple and honestly pink accents to give me a cool color palette. So yeah. Also, because there are so many events going on nearby, I really wanted to have an army that painted up pretty quickly. And there are a few armies besides like Beastclaw Raiders that paint up quite as fast as Stormcast if you put your mind to it and really work at it. Ballistas are looking pretty fly, though, I gotta say. I'm liking the way they're looking. Let's see. You man, I've been doing so much, I must have missed that announcement. Yeah, it's, I mean, I didn't really announce it, per se. I just kind of started pinning Stormcast one day, and people were like, well, that's Doug. Army switch in McGee. But yeah, also these Celestial Vindicators will be in a narrative battle report coming out. Well, I don't have a time. I'm not going to say anything like that, but at some point it will come out. I'm actually having a model commission painted for that one, so when it's done, it's done. Peace out, Doug. Happy painting. Yes, yes. You have a wonderful evening. Let's see. Currently working on painting a Stormcast Ballista also. I'm also building a bunch of the Sylvaneth from Looncurse for my wife. We are joining an Escalation League next month. Oh, that's so cool. That is cool. At some point, I want to run an Escalation League locally. But honestly, it's a matter of finding time. GW's kept me so stinking busy, all these new books coming out. My goodness. Doing a few little micro touch-ups here, but everything went pretty well. What's your favorite model of all time? Either to paint or just the sculpt? Well, you know, I have traded and owned many armies. Many, too many. My god, it's embarrassing. But I've only ever kept one model that I've never gotten rid of, so I guess he's de facto my favorite model. And that is the Glotkin, who you can see, he's right in front of the Karen Empire box. He's a little hard to see, but yeah, right up there. Glotkin is my boy. I don't have a army to match him or anything like that. I just really like that model. Is the echo going on again? That's weird. I have the music playing, but there shouldn't be an echo. I can skip this song, maybe that's it. Anyway, tell me if everything sounds okay. But yeah, he's definitely my favorite. Let's see. Yeah, maybe it was the song, just the way the beep was, the tune was going. Let's see. Yeah, so Glocking was my favorite model to paint. I've at certain points I had the Slaves to Darkness, which I used as Nurgle, but I never actually had a full Maggotkin army. So eventually, I probably will eventually have a Maggotkin army, but. There's no immediate plans for that. Okay, thanks everyone for getting back to me about the audio. Let's see. Marathi is a gorgeous model. Yeah. I'm just throwing a wash of Seraphim Sepia on these bad boys. It's my favorite wash to go over gold. Kenzie says needs to hop into a 40k escalation league. Yeah. Does 40k have a Path to Glory type thing? Can someone tell me? I have no idea. I haven't kept up with 40k at all. Like, there was a time when I was kind of trying to keep my toe in both camps, like in terms of like keeping up with news and that kind of stuff. I just can't do it. There's just so much going on for both systems. No escalation needed near me. Yeah. TG Disciple question. Recently I have gotten into Rotbringers. I looked at your site for some lore videos and noticed you only have lore for specific units. Will you be covering Maggotkin lore in the future? I did an entire week where I talked about stuff. Should have a Maggotkin playlist. Let me think about that one, why it wouldn't show up for you. But so basically when I do lore weeks, I do focus a lot on units and that kind of stuff. But there should also be more there. And again, that was one of the first armies that I did a lore week on, so that might be a little bit different. Let's see. But, I mean, eventually, yes. I really like Maggotkin, so I will try to keep a updated set of lore videos on them. Let's see. Question. Dogma Goodman, in your lore videos, you often speak about how much you like the pantheon of gods in AOS. So, if you were in the realms, what god would you follow? Can include chaos. What god would I follow? I don't know, man. That's a toughie. Like, Sigmar's a good answer because he's like very active with his people. You know, like as far as like who I think is the coolest, like Grugni I think is the coolest, like the master engineer type. But he also has nothing to do with his children. As far as we know right now, the Carriage and Overlords are probably the closest thing to his kids that he has. Yeah, so I guess Sigmar for the sake of like, I want to have an active deity. Alariel doesn't really appeal to me, mainly because she let so many people die because she was moody, which I know is a gross oversimplification, but that's how I feel about it. Where's Grugny in the story? He is not really anywhere. The last hint we got of him was from the Fireslayer book, the new one, that just kind of referenced him, possibly, it's like a rumor type thing, working on some kind of grand work that no one really knows what it is. To answer your question, nobody knows. Nobody picks Nagash. Yeah, I imagine that no one in the realms picks Nagash either, but he chooses you and you can't say no. I would choose Nagash if I could be assured somehow that I would be like Arcan. Right, like a favored servant who like he shows favor to by giving you more work, that kind of stuff. I could be on board with that. Yeah. Let's see. Oh. Let's see. So if you have questions about what I said, like where some people said, wait, what? And then she did, like, you got to be specific in your responses because there's like a 40-second delay between when I say something and when I see your guys' messages. But if you're asking about Alariel, yeah, she became very insular during the Age of Chaos, withdrew, and then kind of fell into despondency. And so that's where we find her at the beginning of the Realmgate Wars. It's being super, super sad. Cool. You guys are looking good. Let's see. I'm just going to throw some black paint on the base just to make it so that the texture paint doesn't have to cover every single ounce. Grab my layer brush. I'm gonna step in Alariel's defense here and say it was a bit more than crippling self-esteem issues, but not by enough. My instinct says Azir, but the Horn Rat would be so much fun. The Horn Rat would be fun. I forgot about that one. But the problem is you don't want the Horn Rat paying too much attention to you. These ballistas are not quite done. I want to do a dry brush of Stormhost Silver to like make the gold like as a highlight. But they're almost there. Let's see. What is everyone else working on while we're doing this? Forgive the silence. I'm just trying to be very careful not to get paint on my ballistas. Did a pretty good job. Playing Total War Warhammer 2. Right on. A lot of times that's what Jack and I do as well. Playing around with some Sylvaneth lists. Keeper of Secrets number 2, Edgar. Nice. Edgar, let me ask you this. How many are you running in your list? Total. It's 10 a.m. in Malaysia. Holy smokes. Jay, super excited about the new 1,000-point scenarios coming. Yes, absolutely. Actually, I didn't touch on that enough, but I mentioned it in my other video. Like, I just am so excited for this year's General's Handbook. It's just, yeah, I'm off the charts excited about it just because of the sheer amount of support for each of the types of play. I feel like the first General's Handbook was definitely like, hey, here's how you can make narrative games. And then the second one I felt like, or since then it's been like, here's how you can play great matched play games. But this current iteration, from the stuff they shared, it just looks like everyone's going to have a blast. And that makes me so stinking excited. I'm recovering from dinner tonight. I gotta go get a place set up for the greenhouse for the ducklings. Nice. Never did ducks, but I always kind of wish I did. Boom, matte coated my last Sylvaneth Wildwood. Nice. I like it. Staring at 12. Yeah, I fell behind. Chaos Marine, a Word Bear. Word Bears are the best Chaos Space Marines. That's my personal opinion. They're my favorite of the Legions. What else? Staring at 12 Rat Ogres, trying to get motivated. Skyfires, oh my gosh. Let's see. My current projects are all Marvel character conversions. I have tomorrow off work, so I'll be turning Primaris Reaver into Taskmaster. Right on. Gene Stealer Colt, Skyfires, that's awesome. That's awesome. Oh yes, they're certainly are the best Legion, for sure. They were the OG traders. Let's see. Need to do some Celestia Gray for these guys. Currently working on my website, Alex Gonzalez. Sweet. I know of like 4 Alex Gonzalez's that all play AOS. I get them all confused. That's awesome. Just a popular name in this circle. All right. Big fan of Iron Warriors. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I actually had an Iron Warriors army at one point. in the last edition of 40K. They were cool. I like them because I just love, well, I've mentioned it a lot on this channel, but just the idea of Chaos Undivided is just so cool to me. By the way, what's the next book you'll cover? For the in-depth reviews, you mean like the one I did for Fire Slayers? I mean, whatever I get sent next, which I don't know, because they haven't announced a battle tome yet. I mean, they said some that they're coming later, but they haven't announced it as a product coming out, so I have no idea. Let's see. So this is actually the most tedious part of this entire scheme is the white. Which, I mean, makes sense. Anyone who's tried to paint white knows that that's probably the worst part of any scheme, but I got my system down pretty well. So I just do Celestia Gray, and then I do a super thinned out wash of Nuln Oil in the creases, like where there are folds in the fabric. And then build up some Ulthuan Gray, and that actually forms the majority of what you see as white is actually Ulthuan Gray. And then do extreme highlights with White Scar, which is a true white paint. Let's see. I'm also making a 40K version of Resident Evil, Raccoon City Police Department. That's funny. Resident Evil is actually one of my favorite games growing up. I love survival horror stuff, like movies and video games. I just love it all. But I don't know, one of the fondest memories I have with my brother is just us staying up super late in the dark playing Resident Evil. And we did the whole thing where I can't remember if it's if you beat it fast enough, you unlock the hidden sub game with the military guy who has a machine gun. Love that kind of stuff. Love that. Love Silent Hill. Oh. Okay. Soul Wars have been awesome, would never have got it if not for the book club. Oh, thank goodness. I'm glad you're liking it. Yeah, it's I have read it before, but I read it at a time. Hunk, thank you so much, Mogwai Man. I forgot his name. That's the name of the soldier from the secret minigame in Resident Evil. Yeah, I read it before, but that was when like Malign Sorcery and all those things, they all kind of dropped at the same time, and so I didn't have time to really savor it, and now I am doing that thing. And it's been cool. Yeah, I think the Black Talon review was a lot of fun to do. It was good success, much success. I think one of my weaker skills is interviewing, and so but I think it actually went pretty smoothly. Kenzie was a fantastic guest. Let's see. Oh, I haven't tried the remake yet. I've heard really, really good things about it though. My thing is I just don't play video games a whole lot. You know, like I get that same level of enjoyment out of producing videos. Okay. Hugh says, "What's up, Doug? How you doing right now?" Also, this is Hugh from Long Beach, California. Hello, Hugh from Long Beach, California. We are doing good. It has been a productive painting session, and I am loving it. This week will, I don't know if every night says productive. Well, I suppose the other nights probably won't be as productive as this one because the 980 points of models were like ready to go. But it can still be pretty good. Let's see. I'm excited to. Honestly, the thing I'm really rushing for, to be honest with you, is that I have not been on rerolling ones in a while. And I just miss it. I miss hanging out with friends. Not that they would like never hang out with me if I didn't have a painted army, but I like going down there and talking crap and playing a game and recording it. We've all kind of been in nose to the grindstone mode because they want to keep doing content, but also like Shu loves Sylvaneth, and so he's cranking out that stuff, and Jack loves Slanesh, and so he's been cranking out that stuff, so we're all just kind of busy at work. It happens sometimes. It's been a busy season for honestly most factions. GW is just banging on all cylinders. Let's see. Gaming quality is on the decline anyway. Yeah, you know, like so it's healthy to have other interests, and so it helps me keep me motivated, and I get to see what other fandoms do for content. But I love keeping up with like gaming industry news, even though I don't play a lot of these games. And I did play Fallout 76 for a while, and I did enjoy it. Like, I'll be honest, I enjoyed it. It was good times. But the state of the industry as a whole is just in such a weird place. It's like they all see that games as a service, meaning a monthly service, like that's the way to do things, but no one's figured out a good way to do it yet. That doesn't make people absolutely enraged in terms of monetization, so I don't know. That's why I don't dip my toe into that world. Unfortunately, this guy wasn't built that well. He has a big old gap in his shoulder. That's okay. I actually foresee myself using Sequitur and Ballistas a whole lot, because I'm pretty sure they're. I mean, I have no inside knowledge, but I'd be very surprised if the General's Handbook did not increase their points value dramatically. So on top of them already not being my favorite models. Now let's see. It needs to crash again like it did in the 80s. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. It did. It totally did crash in the 80s. The video game industry. Let me ask you this. How many of y'all play mobile games? Of any variety. No matter which one. I'd love an update to Dino Crisis 2. Never played the second one. I love the original Dino Crisis. That was a good time. It was just like, what if we took Resident Evil? Okay, but dinosaurs. What? Mobile games are all awful. It's kind of afraid of the answer being. Let's see. Okay. So this is the order we went in. So I go right back over and I just thin this down a whole lot more. Some of my favorite MMOs only have a mobile sequel. Yeah, so the reason I asked that question was because, like, my favorite misstep in the industry lately has been Bethesda announcing, what is it? Diablo for mobile. That just blew my mind. I don't even play Diablo, but that just blew my mind when they did. I was like, oh no. Anyone played Sekiro Shadow Die Twice? Oh, that was Blizzard. What did I say? I must have misspoke. Yeah, I was thinking because it was a BlizzCon. No, what was that, BlizzCon? I thought it was. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. Hi Doug, so I'm continuing the lore of my fan-made Chaos God character, the Hugh, the Great Darkness Emperor. Chaos God of Darkness, Evil and Wickedness, also his second Chaos Space Marine Warband. I like it. It's got a strong name. Yeah, literally the only downside to the scheme is how many layers it takes of Celester Gray and all that stuff like that. Let's see. PJ, question: do you think your crew there would have been better as part of one base like Katie and have weapon teams? Would it have been better in game? Yes, because having the crew members next to a ballista increase its footprint size, so it's easier to charge. As far as like actual like modeling and that kind of stuff, I'm kind of torn. On one hand, I do like the Cadian weapon team where they're all together because it's just kind of a cool little diorama pose you can build. At the same time, for Stormcast and their weaponry, that would require a huge base to have that same kind of like space to do that same level of diorama type stuff. So, and I just mean like that just makes it harder to pack, harder to wield, that kind of stuff. So, I do kind of like it the way it is. It's still not my favorite model, just in general, but that is an interesting thought, though. I wonder on other armies, like we talk about free people and that kind of stuff, what that design idea looks like going forward. Okay. IG hip weapon teams are a little too big. I mean, they definitely, they're bulky as all get out. That's true. I just more mean like if you are someone who's like super into basing and creating dynamic scenes with your models and that kind of stuff, that room that you have from that certainly helps with that. But yes, they are quite large. Relative. Let's see. Kenzie says my Stormcast can be based off Fire Emblem characters. Yes, you introduced me to that game. I've played about 10 minutes of it and realized I don't have time. But it seems very cool. Let's see. Just this last guy. Yeah, and so just a ton of thin coats. You know, the only thing I don't like about these models, and when I say these models, I mean anything from the Soul War set, because that's a large majority of what I have. One thing I noticed is that with the shoulder pads, and tell me if you're a Stormcast player, this happens to you too, the hammer design is not very well defined, and so if you don't use super thin layers of paint, it actually becomes hard to paint, like to pick it out and make it look good. Whereas like in this lot I also got a bunch of Judicators, and I had no problem because they're the actual Soul Judicator kit. Had absolutely no problem picking out the detail on the shoulder pads with that little hammer symbol. That just might be a casting thing from the Great Big Soul Wars molds where they had. Somehow I missed the front of his cloak last time. Let's see. Polish symbols are bad on all the easy build Stormcast I've done. Yeah, okay, that's kind of. I think they're kind of generally the same thing in terms of their design, so that does help. Which is a real bummer. Let's see. Uses and Doug, my fan-made chaos god. Also have these monsters called the demon monsters that are vary in size from humanoid to monster forms. Uses both foot soldiers and beasts. That's cool, Hugh. Making your own thing of lore. I dig it. Forgot, these guys are a little different. They have these little lines as the tabard thing kind of follows up their chest. Okay. How many blisters are you going to run, Doug? I'm painting 2, somewhere between 0 and 2. I have, no, I don't have a third one. I got rid of the third one, yeah. It's just, I think they're going to go up in points, and I would rather use those points to like put troops on the table and fight for objectives and that kind of stuff. I'm not a big shooting guy. It's not my favorite phase of the game. Certainly not one that I like to rely on. Because sometimes you just roll garbage. So, Phoenix Kelly, when do you think Slanesh will be free from his/her bonds? No idea. I thought I was going to be this battle time, to be perfectly honest with you, but that did not pan out. So I'm at a complete loss. So let's see. These are looking pretty darn tasty, I gotta say. I like them. I will do that quick dry brush with the silver. Those guys will take just, well, they won't take very long because all you got to do is the white is always the longest part of these things, of this scheme, but it's always worth it. It looks so good. So you just take Stormcast silver and just do a light dry brush to pick out some of the higher up details. And all it does is just make the gold pop a little bit more. Which you probably can't see, but you will see it when I take my final photos. I'll throw them up on Instagram. Let's see. Let's see. I'd vote for combined Free People, Ironwell Arsenal, Devoted of Sigmar, etc. Mass together for me. Maybe join Dispossessed. All Free Peoples, not just human. Yeah, that'd be certainly cool. I mean, I know that they're coming out with they mentioned like settlement rules in Forbidden Power. Kind of like they have with Firestorm, right? Like if you take this city can have people from Free Guild Ironwell, there we go. free guild, that kind of stuff. So giving you narrative ways to combine various factions. And I think that stuff's awesome. So if nothing else, you can always do that. Atomic Topher says Doug's not going shootcast. Doug is not going shootcast. What I'm actually building towards, if you're curious, is the Cleansing Phalanx, where it's just a lot of Sequitors being uber buffed by Evocators. And yeah, that is my current plan as it is. So, I'll tell you what. So it is almost 8, which is my hard stop. And I'm at a really good stopping point because all this, the Celestia Grey all has to dry. So I can begin building up the white. But I'll tell you what, friends, join me here tomorrow. And we're going to be doing some more painting about the same time-ish, like about 5:30 or 6 my time. And we're going to be doing a whole lot more hobbies. So thank you all so much for joining me. If you think of questions and topics we can chat about, I think tomorrow I'll have some topics kind of in hand. I want to give my thoughts on Slaanesh, kind of go into what I want to do with my Stormcast army, more than just a Cleansing Phalanx and stuff like that. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I will talk to you tomorrow about this time.